Hello, Virgo. Isn't it funny when you start to do something in your life that you've maybe done for a couple years or more of a short period of time? Even though years feels long, they're not in the grand scheme of your life, depending on how old you are. Even if you're 12, a couple years is still not the long term of your life. And imagine like starting to do something and like feeling not like yourself without that thing in your life. That's actually a lesson in the yoga philosophy that I believe takes some type of mastery. To be able to love something and do it so often that you take its roots, you take its philosophy out and practice that instead. This didn't come up in the first part of your reading, but it made me realize that today I have a moon coming from a Virgo moon, Venus, and Venus will be entering Taurus soon. I think I'm starting to feel that. Excuse me, fellow earth sign, very monetary oriented, security oriented, creative oriented, like really making things so physically not only beautiful, but with quality, the best that you can. And it really just depends on you, right? You know that more than ever. You know that when you walk into a space, when you're at your best, you make everything better. The vibe is just better. You remember those days just as much as you remember the ones that made you feel shitty, and that where other people may haven't feel as shitty as you, but it didn't help the situation, right? And that's just you being, hold on. That's just you being like, that being a bystander, being like a bystander in your life, excuse me. So now there's this flow happening out. There's a time where you were so gung-ho for whatever it is that you're learning and so adamant about it that there's this almost Libran cardinal air shift, even though you're in Gemini season. It's a very combo thing. But it's also about karma to an extent, that you're now at this place where you've learned to balance and manage things very well by giving yourself the proper time, giving yourself what you need at different moments, that you're now able to voice things in a different way. You're now able to carry out what you've been saying you've been wanting to do, or what you have been doing. It's like you realize what you're doing is important regardless if another person does, and that's something so intensely honorable about your sign, is that when you go for something, you understand that it's well-rounded. You're almost made to learn to understand that, being the sign that does come to this place of understanding. It's right at the beginning of adolescence, so to speak, in the zodiac. Its evolution is where you're putting all those lessons into play, and that's why for some reason your life can feel so much harsher at certain times, and depending on what your placements are and how they play out in your life, especially for Virgo risings, you're just noticing that the way you're moving in the world is becoming exactly the way you always had. And yeah, there still might be some rollover of consequences still happening or being talked about, but there's something about your integrity that's more together. You're able to declare who you are by how you say and you act, and that's even when you're having fun, you know? There's this vibrancy to you that people want to be around, and there's this part of you that's also able to offer yourself in a way that's very powerful, yet at the same time extremely youthful. There's something about that with you and Sagittarius going on right now, and this is the Sag card, and I didn't even think of that before I said that, but there may also be someone in your life who has something to say, which makes you maybe want to voice something in a more skillful way, in a way that you now know this conclusion that you've come to, this understanding that you've come to. But that won't be out with, if this is something from the past, someone or a situation from the past or a past circumstance, you have the power to really alchemize it and change it now. But that's not without really listening when either someone you respect or this more powerful part of yourself really comes through and says, hey, you really need to listen. It's about being receptive, which is also very giving at times, right? When you receive someone else's energy and really learn to sit with it, you're also giving to that situation exactly what it needs. And that's also for yourself. And I think that's something really, especially a couple months ago, you began to act upon. Like, you've always known, and it sucks because you know things and people expect things from you, but you have to remind people that just because you know better doesn't mean you'll always do better. There's a weight that's being held on someone so knowledgeable. And when you decide how to use it, when you decide how to handle those things, you realize that whoever really loves you will roll with you throughout it. And that doesn't mean always them being around. That's something huge I learned. That for some people, like yourself, you need seclusion in order to learn. You can work in a very outgoing or with a lot of people, but you need some type of separation. You need your place to be able to shine, do what you do best, and understand that you're doing what you need for yourself at the same time. And there's this skill that's coming together. There's this understanding through the Mercury retrograde so Mars will enter, is it Mars or Venus? I should have said, I think, no, because Venus is, sorry, I'm getting a little, yeah, it's Mars, anyway. I've known it all along. Mars enters Aries, you feel probably even more sure of yourself. And it's almost like you're tired of dealing with things that you were once entertaining before, and you realize that all these things moving in and out of Taurus, all these planets, not just things, you and Gemini, now you beginning to realize that you can taste all the things, but now you don't really have a taste for some of the things. Like, it's an opportunity that can present itself, but it doesn't mean it's the one you want. You know, this could be a human, or this could be a job, or this could be some type of creative aspiration, but whatever it is, it's becoming a very big part of you. Very quickly. And there's this part of you that doesn't feel like you're able to feel so content with all of this when you go through it. Like, towards the end of the month, you are almost overwhelmed by how good it feels to change. To really change, to change in a way that's just not building up your external structure and having it, you know, reboot every now and again. It's really about making it stronger and understanding that the risks that you take reap great rewards, not only for money, sure, but it's for who you are and who you want to be. It's knowing that the attention that you receive throughout all of this is the attention you're supposed to receive, that you're meant to receive. And when people watch that, it's something to learn from you. It's about owning the part where people think you might be being passive, but you're really just taking care of yourself, because you know at this point that getting to know yourself so well, you see through other people even easier. You know, when things become really clear, it becomes really clear to you, and it makes you not always want to give away that energy. And it's so smart right now. It's so fucking smart right now. And for those of you who get maybe tripped up in that, just know that the fall might be just as high as the climb. You know, very Capricorn, even though they don't show up here, but it's also very tunnel vision, which Aries can be. But if you want, you can get really, really bright right now and really own who you are more than ever, using your voice when you need to, and understanding that this is your moment. You know, it's your moment. I think that's a great way to end it. How do you want it to be, Virgo?